Hey guys, welcome back to another tutorial. This time I have a new subject for you. This is a Maranta leaf, which is a type of a variegated leaf. A variegated leaf refers to leaves which have multiple green tones and textures. So let's get started. So to start off this leaf, I have sketched it out. I have done a basic sketch. I'm linking the reference image in the description box below, and you can check it out and sketch the leaf out on your own canvas. I'm using a 300 GSM watercolor paper for this, and Brustro watercolors, and I'm using silver brush, round brush, size 8 for this. So I'm starting off with a crimson red coat on the red veins, which is like a highlight of a Maranta leaf. It's not a very final coat. I'm just marking the spots of where the veins are supposed to go. Then I'm gonna draw in the lighter green areas. So essentially for this leaf, I'm using three colors: light green, deep green, and crimson red. The crimson red is a mix of crimson and magenta, or vine, or any you can mix it with even purple to create this slightly pink shade. For greens, I have taken sap green and mixed it with cadmium yellow, and for deep green I have taken deep green and mixed it with a little bit of Prussian blue because I needed an even darker shade of the green. So each section of this leaf is, a unit in itself, and it has a similar pattern that we have to follow throughout the leaf. There needs to be a darker green area towards the center of the leaf, and it slowly merges outside to a lighter green area. The merging needs to be very gradual and soft. And then you have to show, finer, narrower lines of dark green. So the lines have to be narrow enough for the light green to sort of peek through the darker green. This is where I'm going to ask you to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. So just like every other watercolor piece, we'll not be adding the darkest green right in the beginning. We'll be building up the dark green gradually, increasing the intensity of Prussian blue and black in it slowly, because the center portion of the leaf is very dark. If you see it in the reference image, which I've attached in the corner. So each section we'll be working on individually, and you can wait for it to dry out before you add another layer of darker green to create it more vibrant and rich in appearance. You can simultaneously work on the red veins, making them darker and more prominent in areas, leaving a certain highlight in the center. There is this V-shaped structure which is going to be common in all of these individual sections. Followed by creating the narrow lines towards the edges of the leaf. You have to be very careful when you're using the tip of your brush. Make sure the brush that you're using has a very fine tip. Preferably use a fine tipped round brush, or if you have any script liner, you can use that. And I'll simply continue working on the remaining sections, creating the gradual ombre effect and slowly building up the dark green in the center part. This is where I'm gonna ask you to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Here I'm adding a few darker greens, a little bit of black along the red veins, and even along the edges of the leaf to show a little bit of burnt edges, which is very common in some variegated leaves. It's also to enhance the red veins slightly. I'll continue it along the lines of the red vein, just like this. And this is where I'll gradually build up the darker green in the center section. And slowly merge it with the rest of the greens. So in the light green section, there are these tiny ridges. If you zoom into the reference image, you'll be able to see there are these tiny sort of ridges that you need to show. So I'm just using a darker shade of the light green that we have created, and leaving some highlighted space in the center, and I'm just going to add color all around it, so it gives an illusion of a raised surface in the center of that section. And then I'm going to continue working on enhancing my darker greens in the areas which I've already painted before I move on to the next section. So you just have to continue working using the similar technique that we have been doing in all of the individual sections, and you will see how the entire thing comes along. You have to build up the darker green layer by layer, increasing the intensity of black and Prussian blue in the mix, and make sure that every vein, every red vein that you're making is being highlighted properly, because it's a prominent feature of this Maranta leaf. I have shown some, darkened, burnt edges on the top side, and there's also like a little bit of a cut that I've shown in the leaf. A few finer details using a very fine brush, especially on the red veins. Adding a few darker shadows here and there. I'm using a very fine brush to do these strokes, just to highlight the veins and a couple of shadows here and there. And there you have it, your very own Maranta leaf is ready. This is a very different kind of an approach to a leaf, because you see there are so many textures and so many colors happening, so you really have to spend a lot of time working on one leaf. But it's very fun to, you know, to see that there are so many interesting leaves out there in the world. So this is my second tutorial on a variegated leaf. First one was the Calathea leaf, and second one is this. So do let me know in the comment section how it goes, and thank you so much for watching this video. See you next time.